What's up guys, Steel here from ProNDC. Welcome to another ESO build video. Stamina Nightblade isn't the only strong stamina class. If you want to find out how strong the Stamina Templar is in the Summerset chapter, stay tuned.
Your lips are stained with fiction. You always have your reasons, and I spell you rotten. Your hands are sealed in pockets. You fill them with your secrets. To you, I am nothing. I am your kiss, sweet like poison. You know you make me reckless. I'll run, but you are friction. Your touch feels like heaven. You make me hate all my sins. You are my religion. My religion. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you.
So those were the DPS tests. 3 mil with the Ravager set completely solo, and 6 mil with Fracture, and with Minor Brutality on the 6 mil Skeleton with the Briarheart set. Let's have a look at the stats. So this is currently with the Ravager set because this gives you the most DPS overall on the Stamina Templar. The extra weapon damage, like the passives of the Templar, increase your weapon damage. I will get to that in a second. So we have all points in stamina. We are a red guard. I only can recommend a red guard. You will have some sustain issues if you do not go with a red guard. So basically, yeah, you want to be a red guard because the extra stamina, the stamina recovery, and the stamina return from your melee attacks are best for sustain. You can still, of course, play with, for example, an Imperial. You can play with a Khajiit, with an Orc, with a Wood Elf. It still works, but Redguard will give you the best damage and because of the better sustain. It's really important. So we sit at 18k health, 34.5k max stam. We have the Love Among the Stone, max health, max stamina food. We are a vampire. You don't need to be one, but it can help, to be honest. Like, it's not too bad to be a vampire. You get the extra recovery and stuff like that, which I actually hadn't. Pretty sure I haven't. I'm sorry. So that's the right recovery value. I had to respec because of the food bug on the PTS. You do not get the full amount of HP and stamina sometimes, and then I have to respec all my skills. It's a bit weird. Anyway, so we are a vampire from some extra recovery, and yeah, this is fully not fully buffed. We still get 3% more crit chance in a trial if there's a Nightblade in the group. There usually is, or even in dungeons. We also get the crit buff an additional 3%, so we're sitting at almost 67%, which is okay. It's just about enough. Anyway, that's it for the stats. Let's have a look at the gear. So for the gear, we currently run, of course, the Reliquant set. This is the perfected version, gives us weapon crit 2 times, minor slayer, max stam, and then our light and heavy attacks apply a stack of the harmful winds, and then these do damage, and every stack increases the damage up to 20 times per stack. Up to, yeah, 20 stacks, I'm sorry. So this set is really, really strong. However, if multiple people use the perfected one, you will get less hits. I'm not sure if that's intended, or maybe they even already fixed it, but as of right now, if you use the perfected set and someone else is using it, you get less hits, and the more people use it, the less hits you get, and then it results in less DPS. However, even with the second person using it, you still do a ton of DPS with it, making it the strongest set you have. That's really really important. However, what does stack is the perfected set and the non-perfected version. And for some very twisted reason, I don't really know like why that is. If someone is using the non-perfected set, you actually get stronger hits on your perfected version, and also the person with the non-perfected set also gets stronger hits. Like my strongest hit was like more than 14k, and usually it hits for like, I don't know, like 6k or something like that. It's really weird. Anyway, this is the set you want to use. You can farm the normal version in Veteran Cloud Rest +0, or just play normal Cloud Rest and just farm it, and yeah, transmute it to Divines, and then you want all Divines in the body. Then, what can you replace it with? As I said, the normal set would work. If you have some issues with sustain, you can use Vicious Ophidian. So Vicious Ophidian, it works. It's completely fine. You have quite a bit less damage, but it's still okay. You should still reach 44, 45k on a 6 mil with all buffs. Maybe a little bit less, I don't know. But it's still a really good set combination, so you can wear Vicious Ophidian on the body instead. Then, if we use Reliquant, we combine it with Selene, because Selene will give us the most DPS on a fight where the boss has a small hitbox. So Selene deals a minimum of 2k single target DPS, depending on the size of the hitbox, of course, and it procs a lot because of Reliquant. So Reliquant, these wins count as melee attacks, so Selene is incredibly strong in combination. However, if you do not use Reliquant, for example, if you go with Vicious Ophidian or Hunting's Rage, which is also, of course, a nice option, you want to go with Stormfist instead. This one here gives you more recovery, so you can do more light attacks, and it's slightly weaker compared to Selene. However, the Templar itself doesn't have a lot of melee attacks that can actually proc Selene, so without Reliquant, Selene would do very, very little DPS. I always got like 1 to 1.2k DPS from Selene without Reliquant, which is weird, but that's just how it is. So Stormfist And for bosses with huge hitboxes, for example, like Valarial, the Assembly General, there's of course so many others, you want to go with Velidreth. So Velidreth is really nice because it gives us weapon damage and the 3 disease spores. All of 3 can hit one target if they have a hitbox that is big enough. And why is weapon damage a little bit better compared to max dam? Well, on the Templar we have a passive here, Balanced Warrior. Increases your weapon damage by 6%. Really good. So yeah, that makes the weapon damage 1 piece bonus from Velidreth really strong. Then we have multiple sets we can combine it with. This here is the max DPS version, and it's relatively easy to get. You can buy it at the guild vendor, or you can go into PvP to the little town on the left southern side, Vlastaros I think is the name, and then you can buy boxes of the Ravager set. So you have, they cost like 12k HP, AP, alliance points, sorry, not health points, alliance points per box, and then you have to just buy a ton of the boxes, and you get weapon crit, max stam, weapon damage, and when you deal melee damage, you have an 8% chance to increase your weapon damage by 645 for 10 seconds. This is insanely strong, and this effect can occur once every 10 seconds, so the cooldown is basically, there's no cooldown. You can proc it on cooldown. The chance to do that is relatively slim. However, you'll still be able to get like 70-75% plus uptimes on Ravager because of the Reliquant set, because these wins count as melee damage, and they will proc Ravager, which is really nice. So 645 weapon damage is huge, and as I said, on this Templar it's a lot, like it gets increased even more. This is really cool. We go 3 Bloodthirsty. This is a heavy armor set, so you need to transmute it. I advise you to get 6 rings and like go with infused for fights where you don't feel as safe, and in fights where you feel really safe and your group can clear it easily, just go 3 Bloodthirsty. It will give you the most DPS. But infused is not that far behind. And robust, I don't think like transmuting into robust is actually worth it here, because you have to transmute it because they are actually healthy rings. So yeah, getting more HP from them is a little bit, yeah, you do not want that. Then we have of course 2 daggers, one in Nirnhold with poison damage enchantment, and then one infused with the Berserker enchantment, and then we combine it with the Maelstrom bow, precise. Nirn and precise difference is very slim. However, I personally, especially in trial environment, I want to keep my crit chance on the back bar up as high as possible. So the extra 7% crit chance from precise gave me the best results overall. Then we have the damage, health, poison here on the back bar, and yeah, double dot as usual. Let's have a look at the other sets that you can wear instead of Ravager. So one thing that you can also get at the guild vendor is Briarheart. So if you combine it with Briarheart, it'll look like this. Briarheart dagger. So you have a bit more max stam, almost 1.5k. You get a little bit less weapon damage, just 449. It's about 200 less weapon damage, but you gain an additional weapon crit and you have less HP. So Ravager makes you a bit tankier, giving you 1.4k more HP in total with the passives. You get a little bit less weapon damage from Briarheart, but in the trial you're sitting at 70% crit chance, fully buffed, and this is also really good. It's a very solid option if you already have like Briarheart stuff. You do not need to buy Ravager. The difference is kind of slim, but the difference is there. So Ravager is a little bit stronger. By the way, thanks to my pal Armin, like he suggested it, like I don't know, in the first week of PTS he asked me like, hey, is Ravager actually a good option now? Ravager used to be best on slot back like prior to 1.6 for staminas in combination with Hunting's Rage. So like Ravager is really strong. And then Kala tested out the Ravager set and said, hey, hey, you get really good uptimes with it, so it can actually work. It's really nice. So yeah, Ravager for the Templar. Briarheart also buyable. What you have to farm instead, and what gave me the like worse results, but it's like not that far behind, is advancing Yokida or Berserking Warrior set, which is this one here. So you get weapon crit, weapon damage, weapon crit, and when you do the melee damage, your critical strike rating is increased by 400 for 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So you get an additional almost 10% crit chance from the 5-piece bonus, and you sit at almost 80% in the trial completely buffed. This is really strong, really strong. However, on the Templar, I got better results from sets that increase my weapon damage by a ton. So Ravager is the way to go. Then the second best option would be Briarheart, and then go with Advancing Yokida or Berserking Warrior. You can find this in Hellra. So those are your set options. Let's look at the champion points. So for the champion points on the green tree, I have 75 points into Tenacity, 56 points into Mooncalf, 28 into Warlord, 5 into Sprinter, 38 to Tumbling, 48 into Shadow Ward. For the red tree, currently 27 Quick Recovery, 23 Hardy, 76 Elo Defender, 21 Thick Skinned, 81 Ironclad, 22 Spell Shield. Why do I have it this way? I think I still had it this way from Halls of Fabrication. You want to distribute the red CP accordingly, like depending on what trial you play. So if you play a trial where you take very few physical poison or disease damage, you do not want to have points here or a lot of points here. You can just like distribute it differently. So yeah, it's completely up to the content that you play. So do not just copy this. Like try to figure out what damage type you take and then adjust the CP accordingly. For the blue tree and the important things here, we have 16 points into piercing. So 16 points is just enough to hit 18.2k if your group has an infused Torx Pack Crusher enchantment in the group, like for example on one of your tanks, and Alkosh. You are the Templar, you provide minor fracture and minor breach, and major fracture, major breach is applied by the tanks. So infused Torx Pack Crusher and Alkosh, those are the remaining other debuffs that you need, and with the Lover Moonstone and piercing, 16 points in piercing, you hit 18.2k. If you need a few more points, just take some points out of Thaumaturge, maybe some points out of Master at Arms, and you should be good to go. Usually in your groups, you should either have Alkosh or an infused Torx Crusher enchantment. If you do not have either of those, you want to go with the monster set Krak, giving you an additional, I think, like 1.9k pen. And that should help. So put a few more points here into piercing. Like what you want to hit is 80.2k penetration. Anyway, for a fully optimized group, 16 points here, 56, 56, 66 into Thaumaturge, because all of our abilities are dots. I will get to that in a sec when I talk about skills. All of our abilities are dots. So Thaumaturge, we put a lot of points in here, and then 56 Mastered Arms. So, talking about skills. Just to show what skills are dots. This one's a dot, this one's a dot, this one's a dot, this one not. Pretty sure it's not. Then this one counts as a dot, this one, this one, this one, and even the shards would count as a dot. So basically only use dots. And on top of that, the Reliquant set should also scale off of Thaumaturge. So I think like not the tooltip, that's a little bit buggy, but the damage increase should come from Thaumaturge. So skills, biting jabs, main damage skill. We use that whenever our dots are up, and we use it in the meantime until our Power of the Light runs out. Blood Craze. Rending Slashes also works. It's a little bit more DPS, but just like by 100 or like 150 or so. Blood Craze gives me a little bit extra healing, so... And I was just too lazy. This is my own character. This is not a template character on PTS, so I just went with Blood Craze because this is running slashes isn't even leveled. I'm sorry, guys. Then we have Expert Hunter. You have this because of the Fighter's Guild passive Slayer, 3% more weapon damage. If you do not use Expert Hunter and we want to play a little bit more defensively, we go with the dual wield skill Deadly Cloak to replace it, like this. Then we have Rearming Trap. Gives us minor force, 10% more crit damage, and also again Fighter's Guild ability, so 3% more weapon damage. Then we have Power of the Light. Lasts 6 seconds and it copies damage, which releases after 6 seconds, which is nice. But the really important thing is targets are also afflicted with minor fracture and minor breach, so you are basically, as a Templar, the debuff bitch. Thunderflame got changed, so Thunderflame now applies minor fracture, minor breach if you do fully charged heavy attacks. So you either have a class that only does heavy attacks, for example like a StamDK with Thunderflame, or you bring a Templar with Power of the Light. And usually Power of the Light, if you play correctly, your uptime should be 80% plus, which is really good. The Templar should do more damage compared to a DK with Thunderflame. Anyway, then we have Flawless Dawnbreaker, increasing our weapon damage by 5%, and Slayer again additional 3%, which is really nice. As our ultimate, we use the Ballista, really strong. You can, if you do not have the Ballista unlocked, you can go with Crescent Sweep. Much cheaper, but not as powerful as the Ballista. Then we have Luminous Shards for the Piercing Spear passive to increase our critical damage by another 10%. Razor Caltrops from PvP. AoE dot ability, really good. Then again, Rearming Trap for the 3% weapon damage. You can, however, replace it with Resolving Vigor. You can replace it with Repentance. You can also use like Cleansing Ritual. Either Morphers should be okay to get rid of debuffs, for example. It's completely up to you. Or you can also, if you want to be a bit more tanky, go with Restoring Focus to take 8% less damage. It also works. So it's completely up to you. Oh, by the way, Luminous Shards, you can replace it with Radiant Ward in fights where you want to go for like no death runs or something like that. You can just put that here to get a damage shield. Especially with Ravager, if you have like when you have more health, it's really nice. So yeah, it's a good replacement to just keep the Piercing Spear passive active. Then we have Poison Injection, single target dot, really good at 50% HP or less. And then we have Endless Hail to activate the Maelstrom Bow. Really strong, our strongest stamina ability in the game, single target and AoE. So let's have a look at the playstyle. How do we actually play the Stamina Templar? So it's pretty simple. So on the back bar, I cast my Endless Hail, I cast my Caltrops, and then I cast my Poison Injection into Bar Swap. If my ultimate is active, I use it, and then I bar swap. On the front bar, we do one heavy attack in the rotation. You can do an additional heavy attack if you want to, if you need sustain. If you do not need the sustain, go with light attacks. So we do a light attack, trap, then light attack, Power of the Light, heavy attack into Blood Craze, light attack, 2 times biting jabs, light attack, Power of the Light, and then we start over again. If you have Deadly Cloak, you do 1 less biting jabs and then Deadly Cloak instead. So on the skeleton, it will look like this. So light attack, Hail, light attack, Caltrops, light attack, Poison Infection into Bar Swap, light attack, Trap, light attack, Power of the Light, heavy attack, Blood Craze, then light attack, Jabs, light attack, Jabs, Power of the Light runs out, light attack, Power of the Light, and we start over. Our ultimate is ready, so we cast this. So if you want to go with a full light attack rotation, you just do light attacks and then 3 times jabs. But like this, you will have more issues with sustain, of course. and your path of the light will be down for half a second longer. But that's basically how it works. That's the rotation. It's really simple. I know that there's people that use shards in the rotation, like they put shards here on the front bar instead of expert hunter, and then also use shards and play a flexible rotation. That's also nice, but I prefer to have it a little bit simpler, and I still get really good results, and it's easier for people, especially on console, to just play the rotation how it is, so you do not have to like track your poison injection, stuff like that. You have a completely fixed rotation. It still gives me really good results. Anyway guys, that's it for today. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked the video, and if you do not want to miss any more ESO content, I would appreciate if you sub to me. Make sure to hit the little bell next to the sub button so you get notified whenever I upload new videos. And yeah, that's it for today. So I hope you tune in next time too. Hope to see you there. So until then, bye bye.